If you're watching this video around the time it came out, means it's March. Congratulations. You're thinking about college super early. This gives you a really good opportunity to get through this process with as little stress possible. But today I'm going to show you the timeline that I recommend to my students that I find really reduces stress and improves their outcomes. And when I say outcomes, I mean test scores, essay quality, and admissions results. So if you're just starting to think about college now, you probably haven't started studying for the SAT. Maybe you have. Some people have finished it by this time in your junior year. It's fine if you haven't. Start studying now if you haven't already. If you have started studying, I would recommend taking the SAT or ACT in March or April. Now remember, you can super score. So there's no reason to not take the SAT more than once unless price is a problem for you. So if you haven't started studying, study for it now. Take your first shot at it in April. And you have started studying for it, take it now or in April, whichever one is less busy for you. Depending on how many APs you're taking, it might be more relaxing to the extent possible to take your SAT in March. That way you have all of April to study for your APs. Because May is basically your AP month. And obviously you'll also be finishing up school, so that's kind of the rest of this year. So for the first half of the month, AP studying. For the second half, finish junior year strong. Because I'm sure you've heard this by now, maybe you haven't. Junior year grades. Oh boy. Talk about important. Colleges really care about your junior year grades. So try to finish the semester strong. You will be surprised by how much good performance on a final can really do for your overall grade if you're behind in any of your classes. So I really recommend spending the entire month of May, basically, working on that. And if you finish in May, take some time off. If you finish in June, whatever it is, take 1 to 2 weeks, don't do anything. Rest your brain. Not only is this good for general life balance and happiness levels, which maybe you're not really taught to think about right now, but is really important. It will also increase the quality of your writing because that's where we're going to get to next, right? Look at all this. Look at all this writing. Essays, personal statement, final draft. You're going to have to write a lot of essays. So you have one long essay, just in case you don't know. This one is 650 words. And you're going to have all your supplementals. Each school has a different amount of supplementals. On average, I'd say maybe 600 to 800 words. And that's kind of on the medium side. Some schools, especially if you're doing scholarship, it's going to be 1,000 plus. And you might be applying to at least 10 to 12 generally is like on the lower end of what people apply to. That is, let's do some basic math. I didn't take calculus or whatever in high school. But even I know that this is a lot. So I would recommend spending basically your entire summer writing. And the reason you want to do this is so you don't have to think about your essays here. You'll still be thinking about them, but it would be nice, don't you think, when you're doing schoolwork, to just have to worry about editing your essays rather than writing them. Just think about how much time it takes, how much mental energy. It's better for you to focus on your grades because, again, not only with the junior year grades, but also senior year first semester, they really care about. So if you don't get into your early, they're going to be looking at your senior year first semester grades. So you want to keep these up. I really highly recommend having a working draft of all your supplemental essays, or at least as many as possible going in to the fall of your junior year. At least have a working draft of your personal statement. When I say final here, that's kind of an exaggeration. Just have something that you've looked over a few times and is the right length. Then don't look at it. Do not look. This is an I. See it? Not looking. No. Give it a break. Work on other things, and then before you submit either your earlies or your regular applications, give it a look over one more time. Now, I still include essays here. 1, because you'll be editing. And 2, because honestly, finishing all your supplemental essays probably isn't going to happen. But what I do recommend is in July or June, depending on your summer schedule. One of these months might be a little more free. So pick one. Pick whichever one is less full with your summer activities, which I assume you're doing, so I haven't included them here. But you'll be doing your summer activities. Think about all your schools. You don't need to know all of them, but look at the ones you definitely know you want to apply to. And just look at all their supplemental essay questions. You're going to start to notice some common themes, right? Most of them ask something about extracurriculars. Most of them ask something about leadership. Most of them ask about service. There's also going to be like a perspective, what makes you special type of question. Basically every school has these questions. So even if going into your senior year, you don't have all the UVA, all the NYU supplementals down to the absolute word, what you can have is version, kind of like a base version of each of these essays that you can later tailor to the school that you end up applying to. So I would, for example, base my extracurricular essay off of whatever supplement I choose. Let's just say, yeah, we'll go with NYU. NYU asks a question, I answer it. Now at least I have one essay about my extracurriculars. So when I start writing my extracurricular essay for Stanford, I can go reference this and I see, oh, I have to cut 100 words. That's not bad. Or, oh, I have to add 100 words. That's great. What am I going to add to that? So if at least you have like a base to be working off of, that really makes this time so much easier. Because here's what happens to a lot of students, okay? They don't take the SAT here. They take it the first time here or here. Then they don't do well. Or they don't do as well as they want. So they end up retaking it in September or, God forbid, beginning of October, even when they're applying early. Ugh, as a counselor, you have no idea how much this stresses me out. And just as somebody who cares about your life and your mental health, don't do that. Please do not do that. Want to do, get your SAT out of the way. That way you can retake it here if you need. Get your essays out of the way as much as possible. That way, that's the only part of your application that you need to work on while you're in school. And again, it'd be best if during that time you're kind of working on revisions. Most of my students that I work with, where I'm coaching them and I'm kind of keeping them on track, everything is done by the beginning of October. Basically, by the time they apply to early, everything else is basically done. November, there might be some minor revisions. But this is going to be such a hard time for you. It's going to be stressful, especially if you're not happy with your early results. It's just not a good time to have more things to do. So I really recommend getting an early start. And of course, when you get an early start on those essays, please feel free to go to my website or send me an email to work with me. I do tutoring. I also do essay review. That's my job. Essay reviews are cheaper than working with me hourly, but if you work with me hourly in a tutoring capacity, I can walk you through choosing your essays, making sure that you talk about different things in each of your different essays, because that's a topic for another video. I actually have a video up on my channel about that. I'll link it below. You really want to be maximizing how much about yourself you're putting into each of these essays. You don't want to be repeating yourself. I see a lot of people repeating things. So if you work with me as a tutoring student, especially early on, I've actually recruited some students already, and we've gotten some really good work done. I can help you kind of design this. So not only do I help you design a schedule, but also content-wise, we maximize what you can be saying about yourself. You can also do that on your own, though, or work with a counselor at school. And if you do that, go to my website. You can book an essay review with me. I also have an Instagram now. So please go follow me at College Chingu if you want some behind-the-scenes info, as well as the ability to DM me. I don't guarantee that I'll get back to you, but my response rate there is pretty decent. So it's an easier way to recommend video topics to me.